Okay, let's have a look at lesson or unit 2. The aim of this unit is to introduce you to the prevention of accidents and ill health, risk assessment, first aid and personal protective equipment. And by the end of this unit you should be able to explain why all accidents should be recorded, define the main purpose of first aid, give 3 examples of personal protective equipment, and define the phrase risk assessment. Okay, reasons to investigate accidents. Well, why do you think? Take a minute to jot down some ideas. So pause this presentation and jot down some ideas why you think we need to investigate accidents. Okay, first of all, it's a legal requirement. Secondly, it identifies the factors that contributed to the accident. It's for insurance purposes, because if any compensation payments are made, it's obviously the insurance companies that will pay out. It's for the enforcement authorities, for the statistical figures, and to prevent it from happening again, which really is the most important part of why we investigate accidents. It's the employee's responsibility to report all accidents to manager or designated person. It's the employer's responsibility to maintain all accident books, records and company report forms and copies to be kept on site, and to report certain accidents to the enforcement authority, which will be the health and safety executive or the local authority who employs the environmental health practitioners. Accident records. This is the sort of information you should find in your accident book. The date of the accident, the time of the accident, name of the injured person, brief description of the accident, any witnesses, action taken and by whom. Now, this is the person that would investigate the accident, and they would write into the accident book the action they have taken after investigating the accident and the result of the action they have taken. This is very important in every workplace in the UK. What is RIDDOR? What does it stand for? Well, what do you think? It actually starts with the reporting of injuries, diseases and dangerous occurrences regulations 1995. The forms that must be completed under RIDDOR are forms F2508 and F2508A. The first one, F for Foxtrot 2508, that's for injuries and dangerous occurrences, and F, again for Foxtrot 2508A, is for diseases. You must report without delay fatalities. When they say without delay, it must be instantly if possible, but certainly within 24 hours. Similarly, major injuries and dangerous occurrences must be reported without delay. Obviously we know what fatalities are, death in the workplace, but let's have a look at major injuries. What are they? Well, it includes things like fractures and dislocations, but not fingers or toes. It includes amputation or loss of limb, loss of sight or serious eye injury, electrocution, acute illness, loss of consciousness, having to go to hospital for more than 24 hours, or if a member of the public has been taken to hospital as a result of the accident. Dangerous occurrences are really events that might result in accidents in the workplace. For example, explosions, collapse or bursting of any pressure vessels, including boilers, collapse or partial collapse of scaffolding, or perhaps you go into work one morning and there's some power cables falling down outside the front door due to perhaps a storm overnight, or there's sparks flying about, or you go inside the building and you smell a heavy odour of gas. Obviously, in those instances that could cause major accidents, so that needs to be reported without delay. Also, under RIDDOR 95, you must report within 10 days any over 3-day absence from work. And this is any accident or injury caused by the work activity, which first of all causes an employee to be absent from work for more than 3 days, or the inability to carry out normal work for more than 3 days. It must be reported within 10 days, that is after the 4th day's absence, and this applies to employees, not to members of the public. Now the first one, if you're off work for more than 3 days because of an injury, on the 4th day you need to report it. You would need to inform your line manager or supervisor, and they then would complete the RIDDOR forms. But if perhaps you've had an accident and you're still okay to work, but you must go on lighter duties, then it's up to you then to make sure you get the RIDDOR forms completed. Certain diseases are reportable under RIDDOR. Now, these are just a few of them. If in your workplace you ask your line manager or supervisor or health and safety manager to have a look at the RIDDOR forms, it'll show you exactly the different types of diseases that are reportable. There's probably about well over 100 that needs to be reported. But these are an example. For example, infections due to biological agents, that means living entities. Things like bacteria, viruses, protozoa, protoctists, anything that really can cause some sort of disease or disorder. Leptospirosis, for example, that's Weil's disease, carried in rat's urine. You get hepatitis, which literally means inflammation of the liver, caused by one of 9 different types of viral infections. TB or tuberculosis, anthrax, Legionnaire's disease, tetanus, all reportable diseases. Conditions due to substances. You might come down with occupational dermatitis or skin cancer, oil folliculitis, occupational asthma, asbestosis, all are reportable. As are certain conditions due to physical agents, musculoskeletal disorders, basically anything that affects your muscles and your skeleton. Could be spinal injury, could be a slipped disc, it could be problems with your shoulders, with your arms, with your fingers, with tendons, with ligaments. Hand-arm vibration syndrome, if you use vibratory tools, or decompression illness for divers coming up too quickly from a dive. Accident prevention. First of all, what is an accident? What do you think the definition of an accident is? Again, pause the presentation for about a minute or two and write down what you think a definition of an accident is. Well, it's an unplanned, uncontrolled event leading to actual or potential injury, damage or loss. So we've got no control, we can't plan it. If we could control it, there wouldn't be an accident. Accidents and consequences. Fatalities, major injuries, damage or loss. Minor injuries, damage or loss. Near misses, where there's no injury, damage or loss. Now, all near misses must be reported in the accident book. Or some companies do have their own near miss documents, where you actually put the near misses in those. But don't forget, if a near miss is something where you almost have an accident but just managed to avoid it, so you need to put that in the near miss book, as I say, or in the accident book, because you might be lucky in missing that accident, but the person behind you, perhaps a work colleague, might not be so lucky. How can we prevent the accident? Can we remove the cause? How can we protect from the consequences of the accident? Can we minimize the consequences? Okay, accidents. Remember, always be on the lookout for health and safety problems. Always take the initiative. If you see something you're not quite happy with, or something you think has got the potential to cause an accident, then report it without delay. Don't necessarily assume that the accident have already been reported, or the hazards have been reported. People can cause hazards at work by smoking, using prescribed drugs, violence, stress, complacency, drinking alcohol, high spirits, distraction, haste, or using shortcuts. Always follow your accident reporting procedure, and always tell your supervisor if you have an accident or injury and put details in the accident book. And that refers to all accidents regardless of triviality. Even if it's just a paper cut or a lost nail, put it in the accident book. Because if you don't, you haven't got any evidence that the accident happened, especially if something develops from that accident or from that injury later on. Accidents and injuries, common causes of accidents. Well, we've looked at the first two, slips, trips and falls. poor manual handling. Between those two, they account for the biggest majority of accidents in the workplace. Next, we got misuse or abuse of machinery, working with sharp objects, vehicles or horseplay, ignoring instructions. So always read and follow instructions, labels on containers, hazard data sheets, which items of information that come with industrial chemicals, telling you what's in the particular chemical, what to do in case of an emergency, and contact details of the people that actually make the materials. And lastly, always read and follow your risk assessments. You should also be familiar with the health and safety policy and the health and safety law poster, which should or must be at all business premises. To assume you know about health and safety is to make an ass of you and me. Slips, trips and falls. Now if you can remember from this is the biggest cause of injuries in the workplace. And this could be due to slippery or contaminated floor surfaces, uneven or damaged flooring, uneven or damaged stairs, wearing inappropriate footwear, poor lighting, human behaviour, trailing cables. Other results of accidents: first of all, lack of information, training, instruction and supervision, which is a responsibility of whom? It's the responsibility of your employer. Also wearing unsuitable personal protective equipment, or another big cause of accidents, playing games or practical jokes. Drinking alcohol while working can seriously compromise your safety. Alcohol is a depressant, not a stimulant. It does slow your reaction times down. So if you're driving or working with dangerous machinery, obviously this could be a serious hazard. And stress. Stress involves the production of hormones in the body which have physical effects. Now what I'll look at in the next section is give you some detailed information on stress, the cause of stress, the reasons behind stress, and I'll make one comment which you'll find is a bit strange, but stress is good for you. But I will qualify that statement.